Mhm. Mm. Okay. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Uh, Glad to see such a wonderful turnout for our Wednesday session. Um, so let's wait just a few minutes, a couple more minutes. As I see many people are still getting on board.
Dr. Alo, you're on mute.
I'm mute. Uh,
No,
doesn't
no,
look
I
like
can hear him.
I'm it shows not mute for here. Can you hear me? Or John or Dell, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, but let's wait just a couple minutes
Okay.
till a few more people get on, and then we'll start. Okay. 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 Mhm. So, Erdal, you're presenting, right, today?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Are you okay if we get started, Erdal?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So welcome everybody. Glad to see such a nice turnout. This is a very, very wonderful series that our data science, artificial intelligence, machine learning research and learning cluster is sponsoring through the grant that actually funds this program, which is our Connected Minority Communities grant. From the National Telecommunications and Information Assurance Program. So, welcome again. This is the second in the series as we're introducing generative AI to the community and what you can do with it and how to use it. And as I said, this is the second in the series, and there will be two more sessions after this. One next week on Wednesday at 4 p.m. and the following week Wednesday at 4 p.m. So I'm going to turn it over to our presenter, Dr. Erdal Maurice, for this week's presentation. And you want to give them your title of this presentation, Erdal, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay.
Right. Where am I looking for? Let me go ahead and share my screen if I can. All right. So first thing that I am going to do is put a version of the presentation in the chat if I can. Let me try it again so that you can have one to follow along. Good evening, everybody. While this is trying, says unable to send the file due to administrative restrictions. Okay, then we'll send the file later. So today we are going to be learning about Notebook LM. Can everyone see my screen? Okay, so I'll encourage everyone to follow along. I'm going to try and make that to the first half of the presentation hands-on. Notebook LM is kind of a solution that we've all been looking for. The issue with using generative AI in general is that the answers we get are too general. If, for example, I go on and I ask about students' knowledge about, say, artificial intelligence in the classroom, I will get a basic overview and maybe some key points and some key ideas about that. But I won't get a lot of, robust, deep, well-rounded information about the concept. And this is what Notebook LM is set up to do. The key idea behind it is that it is grounded in your sources. And so basically, it is making a generative AI chatbot that basically uses your sources as its main area for pulling and understanding the information. It uses the Google 2.5, Gemini 2.5 in the background, but basically Gemini 2.5 is pulling from your data. So why is this important? This is basically a very, very useful tool for researchers and students alike. And as I will demonstrate a little bit later, is that it really allows us to do the fundamental work of research, i.e., getting to know your sources better, learning and educating yourself about the topic that you're learning about, and then also it helps you with the writing and analysis and reflections on the information that you're working on. All right, so yeah, another nice thing is that a lot of citations for us, which is always cool. And so your sources for your Notebook LM, it can take documents, PDFs, text files, Markdown files, Office files, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, CSV files, audio files. It can grab files from the web. So from your Google Docs, your Google Slides, you can get from websites. So if you're posting a URL, it will pull the text from that website. It can pull items from YouTube. So if you have a YouTube video that's interesting, you can pull that into. Let's say, for example, you get working on a grant, and the grant provider had a YouTube meeting where they sat down and they went through some of the key points of that grant. You can pull that in here, and then you can ask about the different topics and ideas that were covered in that grant. Limitations for the YouTube videos, it needs to have transcript or captions. Generally speaking, when you're creating a YouTube video, YouTube will do that automatically for you. But of course, it's better if you provided your own transcript. For the website, it will only take the text only. And there are some limits on how much resources and how much queries you can do on a single day based upon whether or not you're using the free tier or the paid tier. The nice thing right here is that the free tier for most people is quite a lot. All right, so I want to stop sharing for a second. So what I want everyone to do is, on the wrong side. Let me share my screen again. There is the Zoom button when you need it. Yes. What I want everyone to do right now is open up Firefox browser and go to notebooklm.google.com. Generally speaking, you do need a Google account, but that doesn't doesn't take long to create one.
Dr. Maurice, is it
Yes.
just the Firefox? Can we use Google Chrome?
It should work on any browser,
Okay.
but generally speaking, Google Chrome is best for Google project.
Account. Okay.
But
Okay.
it should be any browser that should work.
Okay.
All right, so go into notebooklm.google.com, and you want to click on create a new notebook. I already have one open. I'm starting. I'm working on writing a paper for generative AI in education, and so I don't have all my sources in here, but I just have to pull a some of them. And what I want you to do is add at least 5 sources. Again, it can be any kind of source. It can be a YouTube video that you recently watched. It can be, let's say you're doing a, say something in biology. You can pull your 5 papers from biology. It can be a paper that you recently completed, or a paper that you're working on right now. Anything, just click on the add button right here, and then just drag the source in, or give the link. Or you can actually paste copied text as well. If you want to attach to your Google Drive, you can attach to your Google Drive as well. All right, so let's go ahead and pull those sources in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you about 10 to 15 minutes to kind of just play with all the buttons on there. Most items created they have a very good UI team, and so they try to make most of this stuff user friendly. And so after you put your 5 sources in, what I want you to do is first and foremost select some or all of the sources. You don't have to select all of the sources. For example, you can just select 3 of them. Say, I am focused right now on AI in the 4th grade. So I only select papers that are focused on the 4th grade. It is helpful though to rename the papers before you import them, but yeah, it's neither here nor there. And then you have some buttons over here to press on. You can press them on one time. You don't have to wait for it to get done. But just go ahead, look around. There's a chat box down here. Just go ahead and try it out for a while. And as you're going through, there's any questions, anything that you what's going on here, just feel free to ask. So like I said, I'll give you guys about 10 minutes or so. So just go ahead, touch the data, see what's going on, and then we'll kind of go back and then we'll take a deeper look at each part and then ask any questions again that come up after that. For those just arriving, we are in the hands-on portion. When I was in graduate school, and one of the things they taught us is that if you want people to actually use something, it's best let them experiment a little bit first before we kind of go through. They can kind of have a feel, get your mind into understand, okay, this does this, that. But if you're just arriving, we are at notebooklm.google.com. It is a what we call a smart notebook, a generative AI notebook. And the reason why it was created to solve the solution of the oversimplified or the overgeneralized results we get when we use a one of those big generalized models like Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT. And so what happens, right, is this model is, we say, grounded or based in the document or the sources that you upload into the model. So whenever the model is answering or giving any kind of data or talking about anything, it's going to be pulling from that data that you have. It's going to be pulling from that data you have. And so the answer is you're going to get like a whole bunch of general fluff, or just by, hey, these are the these are the key things right here. It'll give you a lot deeper, a lot more precise. And as you've hopefully seen by now, it'll start giving you references, context as to where all of this information is coming from. So far, all I have shown is how to add. So you click on the add button right here to add information into your notebook. And then you can drag stuff in right here, or you can click to find the information on your hard drive. It links to websites. It'll pull text from website. It'll also pull text from videos, YouTube videos. You can link it to your Google Drive if you have Google Docs in there as well. Oh, wow, people still just arriving. We have about 5 more minutes. Again, like I said, as you're doing this, if anything comes up and you say, what's this? Or you want a little more information, just go ahead. The mic's open. We will all benefit from listening, learning, and following through. Again, go to notebooklm.google.com, create a new notebook, click on the add button, add your sources in. You have control over your sources. You can select all. You can select a few of them, and you can try out some of these buttons over here, or the chat window in the middle. Again, I'm hoping by the end of this, that this is something that you might use every day or every week. Try and get you into that space where it's not just, hey, I know about this thing, but it's something that you will actually use. Anybody out there smiling yet? I know using this stuff for the first time often makes me happy. Yeah, so you could have pulled in there chemistry papers. You could have pulled in there biology papers, American history, videos on the weather. So you can pull anything into these things, right? All right. I think I am sharing my screen. All right, so we showed you this already. Your sources right here, you can click. I draw. There's also a discover button to help you find more sources based upon the sources that you have. And now let's kind of walk through the features. Can you guys see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good. All right. So the first feature right here, again, the first time I heard this was really interesting, is an audio overview of the information. Let me pull up one. So right here, I have this audio input right here. And here you see two buttons right here. You see a little hand waving, and then you see the play button right here. I think one of the nice things that it allows you to download the audio files. And so let me try playing one of them for you so you can kind of hear what it will sound like. I should open this in QuickTime. Can you guys hear that? Can you?
No, not really. I
Not
didn't.
really.
Can
Hold
you
on,
try it again?
Let me try again. Let me reshare my screen. But let me share the sound as well. All
Really
right,
big
can you hear it?
challenge facing education right now. That's the
Can you hear it now?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so what happens right here is that it took all of my text right here and it changed it into a podcast style review. What you have right here is you have at least two people talking about the information.
the super fast, sometimes messy integration of artificial intelligence into K-12 schools and instructional design. You know, AI isn't some far-off thing anymore. It's basically everywhere. I mean, think about it. The sources say 1 in 4 kids aged 5 to 16 lives in a home with a virtual assistant they use daily.
And so if I go up a little further on,
Yeah, absolutely. We have a perfect case study from the sources, Camp Dialogues.
so notice right here that they're actually pulling information from the sources. It's referencing which source that it's pulling from. And again, it's just giving you not a broad overview, but going section by section, each of the ideas in the context of the material that it read about, it put it into this audio format. And so you can listen to the audio format and like while you're driving, and kind of give you that extra input on. Actually, it's a nice starting point for me in terms of understanding the information that is going on. An interesting thing that it has in this one right here is that you see this little hand right here. That hand right here, it'll actually turn the audio presentation into an interactive presentation. So while you're playing the video,
Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today, we're going to
at any point in the video, you can click the join button and you can actually ask questions based upon what you're just hearing. And it'll change the audio and adjust to answer the question that you're asking.
cut through the noise on a really big challenge facing education. Oh, hey, welcome. What's up?
And then you can say, hey, can you tell me more about what's happening in the 4th grade classroom?
That is a great question.
We love getting those specific grade level requests.
Well, our main focus today is on
Yeah, and so you see right here, it actually lists your question and it adapts the audio to what you were saying, to a question that you asked. Crazy. Yes, I know. All right, so yeah, that's a bit of that audio overview. And then the video overview is similar. The difference is that it's presented as a slideshow. And so, and I think I downloaded it to prevent any hiccups. And so, it's a video overview right here.
Vision for AI in education.
Again, sometimes like, we're visual learners. And so as it is going through, it gives us, prompts, hints, videos, text to kind of help us better understand and grasp the information that it's trying to explain. And so again, especially, for us visual learners, that again can kind of help us understand a little bit better. Hey, this is something interesting. I need to look into this, or hey, maybe I should go ahead and investigate more on this idea. Again, through all of this right here is grounded in your sources. So I created this audio overview. I can go in and I can just click maybe 3 different sources and then have it do another audio overview, and it will just look at those 3. So if you know that your generative AI education is broken up into several large groups, universal design, artificial intelligence in higher education, co-designing classes, stuff like that, you can split your papers up into those parts and just have it just work on those parts individually. Any questions so far? Okay. So after that right here, we have the mind map. And the mind map is a way of looking at first breaking the topics down into these major sections and then having sub breakdowns for each of those sections. And so I think I have a mind map already right here. And so it says from K-12 instructional design, here are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different subsections that are mentioned grounded in the sources. If you click on one of them, it will pull up a chat, and the chat will give you more. It will discuss the sources on that one topic for you, and it will give you an overview of the sources right here. Notice right here, and each and all the text right here, it has numbers. Each of those numbers refer to sources. If you click on it, it will pull up the text from the source for you, and then at the top of the text, it will have I'm looking for a shortened version of the text, and then it'll give you the full text as well. It's my mind map right here. Zoom in a little bit. If you just want more information, for example, so AI integration in the classroom, inclusive AI design framework, core components. You click on this arrow right here, and then it'll give you the core components. In this case right here is the 5 big ideas of learning. And then click on this arrow again, and then it will break it down to the 5 learning content. So for example, if you're writing a paper on this right here, you may want to touch on each of these big 5 ideas. If you're designing an experiment, using AI in the classroom, these are things that you need to consider when you are designing that for that classroom, right? And so it helps you in both on the forefront in helping you understand your material, helping you design your experiments, helping you design how to interact and work with people that you're working with. And then on the back end, it'll help you write that paper, help you put together, if you have to do a proposal, help you put those things together. Any questions there? So that's your mind map right there. And then what you have right here is a report. Now, normally for me, I tend to do the reports myself, but the reports right here are long form write-up based upon your selected sources. If I go in right here and I click on the reports, the first thing you'll see right here is that it has different formats. If you give it a second, it will give you, based upon the text right here, 4 additional formats. And you can go in right here and then you can edit the format in terms of the description of the format. You might want to say how many paragraphs you wanted to have in there. You might say what you want to see in the introduction, what you want to see in the conclusion, and then you just click on generate, and it will generate a report for you. And so this right here is one of the reports that it generated right here. You can adjust how long these things are, but you have to remember that this is meant to be an interactive process. And so you can say, hey, can you add in, let's say, for example, you look at a 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3 in the designing, and you say, hey, something's missing. Can you add in a 4.4? It will go ahead and it will do that for you. Right, as you can see right here, it's a long form paper. But again, it kind of be like a backbone or foundation for writing a bigger report or a more inclusive report right there. Questions there on the mind map or on the report? The last two right here are for, like I said, one of the first things they teach you is that before you go ahead too far, you have to actually learn and understand these concepts. You know, often we go in there having some amount of knowledge, but after reading through several of these papers, we start recognizing that there's quite a lot that we don't know, right? And so one of the things they have right here is that they have study aids help us get grounded in the information. One of the things that I have found, one of the issues that we have with generative AI, and again, one of the biggest issues we have with our students, is that you can click and forget it. You know, click on it, have it write all the stuff up, copy and paste, but we're not benefiting from any of that, right? And that's one of our biggest problems for our students. Is the main issue of cheating is that you're not actually benefiting at all from the process. You're passing off other people's work as your own. You're not actually growing as a scholar. And so this is part of the reason why this is here. So we try and encourage you to read the text. It helps you to remember when you get quizzed on those items. The flashcards right here, you can use them. You know, you can set aside 10 minutes a day to run through the flashcards to kind of, you know, build that knowledge. And also, this helps us in terms of designing experiments, because sometimes these things can give us insights into gaps in knowledge. Sometimes these things can give us insights in the areas that we can look into and think about more deeply and recognize, maybe I might have a solution here. And we can use these to kind of, again, help us guide our so here's an example of some flashcards right here. So you have the front of the flashcard, you click on it right here. On what framework originally from architecture seems to make learning more inclusive by proactively planning for diverse classrooms? That's UDL, Universal Design. I got one, yay! But anyways, but yeah, so and so as you go through these things right here, again, if you want flashcards on a specific area, you can just click one of these, for example, or a few of these, and then that can help you just drill down and just have the flashcard. This one's based on all the sources. That's not a requirement. Similarly with the quizzes, right here, it's an actual test right here in the framework of inclusive AI. Again, all of this right here is, you know, based on the idea for us learning and for us growing as researchers, as students, right? We have to engage with the material on as many different levels as we can. And so that's what they're trying to do right here. Again, this was designed by researchers for researchers, again, to hit a lot of those pain points that they were having when they were just using, you know, generalized search. You just go onto Google and just type in, hey, tell me more about AI in the classroom. You just get a whole bunch of stuff, right? And similarly, if you just use one of those AI tools, Google, Gemini, or ChatGPT or Claude, again, you just get a whole bunch of stuff that's simply not tailored to the area that you're looking for. This allows us to get to that next level. I'll just click on answer right here. Oh, I got it right by accident. Yeah. It'll tell you if it's right, and if it's wrong, oh, okay, got two in a row by accident. Oh, can't. Oh, here we go. If you get one wrong, it'll tell you the correct answer. And so again, you can use that to help you kind of learn what's going on. Questions so far? Now, the biggest feature of I haven't actually touched on yet, or the most important feature of this right here is the chat box in the middle. There's a reason why the chat box right there is in the middle. After you have your data in, and then you open it up right here, your chat box, the first thing that you'll see, right here is an overall summary of the sources that you have, overall summary of the sources. And so it tells artificial intelligence, and notice right here, is highlighted. Inclusive design, ethical challenges, implementation strategies, driving instructional designers' adoption of generative AI, curriculum, co-design, and all this cool stuff. It's just a broad overview of my data. And so you can just take any of these things right here, data privacy, and you can just type in the box, can you tell me more about data privacy? And the thing right here is it won't just go out there and just pull data privacy from everywhere you can find in the interweb. Because, you know, data privacy can refer to thousands and thousands of things, from data privacy on your phone to data privacy in medical, but that's not what it will do. It will pull it from these three sources right here. If there's no data privacy, it will tell you, but it will pull it from those three sources that I have highlighted right there. And again, you can stop down and you can think about it: data ownership and control and access, measures for protecting data privacy and security. And notice right here, every step along the way, you see these little numbers right here, and the number right here will tell you where it's pulling from. Now, what I have done in the past is I use this thing called Mendeley. Mendeley is a resource manager. And so all of these papers will have, I have also pulled in the Mendeley. I checked to make sure my citations are correct. I made any edits, like, you know, sometimes you pull the stuff from the internet and the dates are wrong, or the commas in the wrong place. You know, I went through and I fixed all of those first. And then after I did this right here, if this is text or this idea that I want to use, I can pull it, and then I use Mendeley in Word to then drop the citation in there. And so that way, as I'm going along, pulling what I need, I'm just going ahead, I'm just using the appropriate citation as you go along. All right, so chatting with your sources. Again, so like I said, this is the major thing that I hear, the major use of this notebook LM right here. And so the first thing you can do is, in chatting sources, is called prompting. And the first you can do right here is just finding the needle, fact finding. You can ask how many questions, where, who, how. I have a jellyfish over here. So I can ask, are there any jellyfish in the project, right? And so that's your first level of prompting right here, is just asking fact finding information. So for example, you can ask, how many students were affected or were taught artificial intelligence? If it's not in there, it'll let you know. If it is, it'll give you an idea. You can ask what schools use artificial intelligence. Again, it'll go in there and it'll let you know. So that's the first level of prompting. Again, by the way, we all have to get better at prompting. And so these basic levels are levels that you should always be considering as you're making prompts. And in fact, most prompts, you actually have some of each of these. The second right here is give me the gist prompting, summarizing. And so what are the main concepts right here? Give me 5 bullet points on a topic. One thing that you did notice right here was that they gave me a lot of information on data privacy. You may want to shorten that, but can you give me 5 on data privacy? And then hopefully I should have said less than 5 sentences for each one, huh? I should have done that. But excuse me, right here, you can see right here, much shorter. Legal compliance and handling sensitive data, scope of data and surveillance, and so forth and so on, adherence to broader regulations. And so nice overall summary of the ideas in there. Next thing right here, bring it all together, synthesizing and comparing. And this is when we start trying to dig into the data and try and understand, well, all right, we know a little bit more about data privacy. Well, how does data privacy affect our students? If I was building a project on artificial intelligence, what data privacy concerns should I be aware of? right? And so it's more than just pulling stuff from it. If we're building a project to teach students AI, what the data privacy concerns should I be aware of? Right? And so again, informed consent, IRB. If you looked at the other ones, they didn't really pull up these things right here. But transparency practice, again, these things they didn't pull up earlier on. But now that I'm giving it, I'm trying to, excuse me, I'm trying to synthesize the data and the information. This right here is helping me do that. Make something new, transforming. You can ask it, turn the sources into FAQ, frequently asked questions. You can ask it to write an introduction. You can ask it to write an introduction to a paper. Or you can ask it to act as a student. What questions would you ask your teacher about artificial intelligence? And so you can kind of ask it to be another person, or to be a sounding board, or to be a contrarian, to kind of figure out, hey, this is what I have so far. Can you look at any holes, any problems? So if I, for example, I had put together a methodology of doing this in the classroom, I can give it that methodology and say, hey, is there anything I should add to this methodology? Is there any gaps in my methodology? Is there anything I should add? Or hey, I want to be sure that this is going to be statistically valid. Any questions or concerns? Because one of the nice things about it is that because it's being built on the bigger system, Google Gemini, it's still aware of these other things, statistical analysis, reading comprehension, all those other things. So the data, the information is coming from your sources, but it still has that ability to broaden, to analyze, and to all those other things that you would expect from a fully capable Gen AI tool. And then, so I'm gonna have some basic pro tips for better chatting right here. Be specific. Don't just say, please summarize. Say, summarize the chapter on ethical considerations in 5 bullet points. You could say, instead of 5 bullet points, you can say 5 paragraphs. You can say less than 500 words. You could say for such and such audience, right? Be specific. You can use source names. So you can say, if you have a source name Q3 report and Q4 report, you can say, compare the revenue numbers from between the 2 reports. And again, that'll give you a much better answer. And then iterate. Your first point prompt is the starting point. If it's too long, just follow up and just ask it to make it shorter. If you want to mix something else in there, just say, okay, given what you have written right here, can you add in considerations for the community? How considering the community affects the idea that we're talking about? But the key thing right here is that you want to be more of a chat. You want to not just ask a question and then take the answer and walk away. You want to ask a question and then respond to the response, and then respond to that response, and then respond to that response. Okay? One of the interesting things is that any response that you have, you can save it itself as a note. So you can click on it right here, and then it'll make it a note over here, so you don't lose the text that you have. And also, you can make it into a source. So you can put it over into one of the sources that you have right here. You can put it over into a source, and then that will be something that you will pull from. So if, for example, I'm designing a methodology, I write it up, I can pull that in as a source, and I can query that source because my methodology is something that I have created, and so, but it's something I want to be aware of as I'm asking questions. You can put that in there as well. Another thing right here, the citations are important to keep note of them. But one of the things that I have found, I know that they're working on, is that oh, they may have fixed it. Is that one of the issues was the citations disappeared just a few days ago. This was right here. So looks like they may have fixed that problem, because that was one of the problems that I was reading about. I know we had, was that the citations would disappear after a while. But looks like they fixed the problem. So yeah, high five. But even so, again, it's important these don't link over here. So they still haven't fully fixed the problem. The 3 doesn't link. If I come over here and I hover over it, it will pull this is the name of the text. And this is the short paragraph that it used to help pull this data in. And so it's not clickable as it is over here. So they're almost there. They haven't fully figured it out yet. But let me see over here. Oh, over here on this side, it's still here. All right, cool. All right, so it does give citations. Like I said, it's grounded in your information. And so again, one of the things you want to do is, your basic research, you have to do that extensive search, finding the papers that you need, so that you can have that you're pulling from enough knowledge so that you're well grounded in your information. Okay, again, you can control which sources NotebookLM is looking at. So if I click all, it's going to pull from all the sources. But if I only want 2 sources, then all of these things will just pull from those 2 sources. So you have a lot of control. Any questions there? All right. Limitations right here. I think it's easier to look at it in video format and then come back and look at it right here. So the free version, you can have up to 100 notebooks in there. The pro plan, about 500. Each notebook can have up to 50 sources. If you have the pro plan, I'm paying $20 a month for the pro plan right now. You can have up to 50 sources in there. Queries per day, so the chats, you can do up to 50 chats a day. The audio summary, you can do up to 3 audio summaries a day. You have a larger array of links and stuff you can use as your sources. This one right here uses the high level Gemini Pro. And right, so there's limits on the size of the sources that you put in, how many words can be put in there. But again, 50,000 words, that's a book about 1,000 pages, right? That's huge for the size of one source. And if a source is really huge, you can literally cut it in half and then just save it as 2 separate pieces if you have to. But it does go by, technically it's a 200 megabyte limit. And so if you have images and stuff like that, that'll cut down on how many words you have in there. What else? You have to be aware, if your website is being a paywall, it won't be able to get to it. YouTube, the video needs to have captions. Generally speaking, most people do that automatically. YouTube does that automatically. But once in a while, people decide not to turn them on, or the older videos maybe. Your Google Slides and Docs, if you make a change to them, you have to go back and resync them. It doesn't automatically know that the document has been changed, so you do need to resync them. You have to recognize and understand the limitations of the design. It's designed as a gated community, i.e., it's based upon the sources that you give it. If you have a source about, say, education in the 12th grade, and you don't put it in there, it will not pull anything about the 12th grade. Right? It only uses sources. It does not browse the web. It does not look up, huge databases. Again, one of the reasons for this right here is that this will then cut down on the amount of hallucinations you'll get from the generative model. Okay, because it's being forced to find the answers within the documents that it has and to show you the citation. Right? You can't ask it for general stuff like what the weather today is or summarize news about a recent event. Right? Again, it only knows what you give it, what you put in that box. All right. Any questions?
I have a question, Dr. Maurice. So, do you know if this tool is able to make difference between right and wrong information?
But so their solution to that is that you are the steward of the information that's coming in there. So you, in theory, should only give information that you believe is correct or believe that is what I'm looking for. It is quote unquote right. You know, it's information that's been validated and trusted. So no, it won't do that because that's the idea behind it. You're the one who would do that.
Okay, so we still need to do some kind of preliminary evaluation of this. Let's say if you do drug design, research, and there is a paper which claims unreasonably high values for the certain drug. Is it still going to be to put it as an outlier or something like that? I'm just curious about it. Maybe I have to try it and figure it out myself.
So the way that it will work is that it will take it in context with the rest of the paper. If you have, say, 5 papers saying that this drug is not very effective, and then you have one paper that says that this drug is effective, it will basically say both things. It will say researchers have found,
Okay.
and then list those 5 papers, those 4
I
papers
see.
saying, hey, but then on this paper, we also found the opposite happening, right?
Okay.
And so it'll show the two. You can adjust the sources. So unclick the higher source if you don't want it to talk about the or think about that outlier source.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? No problem. Anybody else?
I just want to say that I really like this tool and your presentation. So thank you very much for the information, and I will try to share this more with my students in class and give them some small assignments to use it. So they have to, what do they need to have in order to use this? You said Google account and that's all?
That's all they need.
That's
That's all
all
they
I
need.
need,
Yes.
free account, okay. Okay, thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Again, the major overview right here, it's meant to be a study aid, research aid, and synthesis aid. And again, one of those big Bloom taxonomy is to kind of get to the top of creating stuff. It kind of helps us get to that point. So if there's information that you try and learn about, say you in college algebra, and you try and learn how to factor, you can pull in some papers on factoring in there, and then you can ask it about factoring. It will help you understand factoring better. Anybody else?
Thank you, Dr.
Oh,
Morris.
one of the interesting things that that I did come across was I was working on evaluating a class, and one of the things I wanted to do was to create a methodology for that course. And what I did was I put all the papers that I found into Notebook LM, and then I asked it to create a prompt for me. And so instead of me writing a prompt, like how we do it, like maybe 5 or 6 lines, it actually wrote like a page and a half of a prompt to give to the Google Gemini to write. And it ended up writing a much better prompt than I would have had. What I wanted to do was to design an AI agent to assess students, to tell how well the students are doing, figure out why the students are struggling, and then give advice on what to do to help the students do better. And literally me saying it out, that's 5 sentences. But then when I asked it to create the prompt for me, the prompt was literally a page and a half. Much better than what I would have done. And so again, one of the things it allows for us is to create new versions of information based upon the data that we have. All right. Any questions? All right, cool. So with that, I'll just announce that on Mondays we have our AI, what's it, big data to AI. But basically, we have a forum where thought leaders and both students and faculty are presenting innovations grounded in artificial intelligence and machine learning. And so if you want to join those, yes, I should share that link. Where do I have it? It's just in my,
You can put it in the chat for the
I
Monday.
know, I'm working on it. I just closed the PowerPoint that I had it open. I'm reopening it now. Okay. Let me share my screen. So here you go right here. From data discovery, there it goes. Tools and applications. Creating the future using artificial intelligence and machine learning. So it's on Mondays. Here's the link right here. Let me put it in chat for everybody. Okay. And so with that, I will hang around. And one of the things I don't like is that Zoom meetings just end abruptly. Everybody just disappears. So I'll hang around. So if you have any questions, let me know. But other than that, feel free to have a lovely evening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Maurice.
Thank you, Dr. Maurice, for the link and for this presentation. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Have a lovely evening. Now, isn't this better than just seeing the meeting just disappear? It's the end. Oh, it's the end. All right. Again, if you have a question, you might be just waiting for a few people to leave, but you can still ask a question afterwards. All right, so I am signing off now. So your screens will disappear. I do apologize.